Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. Today we're doing something a little different. We're doing a DIY polymer clay tutorial to make this super cute hand pie. So without further ado, let's just jump right on into today's video. So step number one is you're going to want to get some tan clay and roll out a circle shape. Then, using your thumb, you're going to try and press it down, forming that same circle shape, but this time just flat. So I'm just using my fingers to make sure that the shape stays the same and to also make sure that I'm getting it as flat as possible, because the more flat, the more even your hand pie is going to be. So you also want to make all the clay evenly flat at the same time. So now that I have my circle shape, I'm going to get some scrap clay. I'm just using yellow because it's really easy to see on camera. And then you're going to want to take a decent sized ball of that. I used half of the size of my tan clay, if not a little bit less. And I rolled it out into a ball and then pressed half of it down against the counter. That way it becomes more of a semicircle. And then I was getting that and pressing it down ever so slightly, but to the point where it still has its thickness. So it was still more thick than the tan clay. And I'm just pressing that down on the inside of my tan clay and folding my tan clay over and then getting the edges and pinching them together. This step is a little bit harder, but it's ultimately worth it. And then once you're done with that, you're just going to go and fix up the edges. I'm just pinching mine. And then you're going to want to bake your clay in the oven according to your package's instructions once you have the shape you want. So what I'm doing is I'm just like rounding out the edges and making a sort of crescent shape, but making sure I still keep the original shape I had, and I'm making sure that none of it is too pointy, because that can take away from the kawaii aesthetic. So now I'm just pinching up the edges just to make sure I get this really nice and I guess I could say thin seal. That way it doesn't look more like a blob, it actually looks sealed. And then mine was a little disproportionate. One of the arms to the crescent was a little bit longer than the other one, so I just fixed that up. And then I'm going to use my needle tool before I bake this in the oven. And I'm going to use my needle tool to make these ridges around the outside. Now, on traditional hand pies, these are made by using a fork. But I thought for this the needle would work just as well. So I'm just going around the whole line in which I was using. And not all of these have to be even. Not all of them have to be evenly spaced. It's just, I was thinking about what I thought would go best with it. And then you just want to use the ends. And then you're going to push it back up. That way it has the line, but it's not separating. And then you're going to get the back of your needle tool and push it in, and this is going to mark where we're going to put our eyes. And then you're going to roll out a thin snake of clay, and you can use your needle tool. I was using a needle tool, or you can use a blade, and you're going to get two small sort of, I guess they're called cylinders. And then I'm going to roll mine into circles. and then I'm just plopping them inside of the eye holes that I made earlier. They go in really nicely with the mold we made earlier with the eye holes, and it's a lot easier when you make the hole. So now I'm rolling out an even thinner snake of clay. Now, it's really thin on the end, but not so thin on the middle. That way I have something I can grab without messing up the clay. So I just have that little line. Then I'm going to use my needle tool, and I'm going to break that off, just the slightest little bit. And then I'm going to fold that into a smiley face. Sorry, right here I went a little bit out of the frame, but I was really just folding it into a U. It was so hard to focus the camera on because it was so thin, but it's easier to see once it's on here. So it's this sort of U shape that I was using as the mouth. And I'm just going to push that on. And mine came out a little bit crooked when I pushed it down. So I'm using my needle tool to just make the shape that I was looking for. You can always do this before you bake your clay in the oven. And it's just a cool touch that you can do to fix it up. So now that we have our base done, we are going to bake our clay in the oven according to our package's instructions. And then once it's baked, I'm just doing some shading on the outside. This is totally optional. I'm just making it look like it's a little more caramelized, I guess. And then, once I've done that, I am going to add some little cheeks. Oh God, my voice cracked. I'm gonna add some little cheeks. So I'm just using that red clay, and it's coming out pink, which is really nice. That is exactly what I was looking for. And then I'm just going to fix up any touches that I think I need to fix. And then I'm going to use a sort of gloss. You can use resin. You can use any type of resin. You can use there's actual clay gloss. I'm using this clear nail polish because it dries really fast and you can get really thick coats on it, and I think it just looks really nice. So now that you're done with that, you're going to let that sit and you're done. I love this DIY. It's so cute. Please make sure if you love it too that you hit that like button and subscribe for more videos, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye!